Welcome to example 5 of Bernoulli. Please make sure you watch the previous 4 videos where I went over 4 examples of Bernoulli. And in particular, in example 1, I explain what is Bernoulli and what is the substitution you have to make. So here, to make the correct format, I have to move this 5y to the other side. So let's do that. So y prime minus 5y equal to e to the negative 2x times y to the power negative 2. The initial condition, we're going to deal with this later, so don't worry about this now. So here, the p is negative 5 and q is e to the negative 2x. But what is most important is the n. And the n here is negative 2. So let's go ahead and make the substitution. V equal to y to the power 1 minus n. Here n is negative 2. So I get y cube. So this is a plus. Negative times negative is positive. So let's take the derivative of both sides with respect to x. So dv dx is equal to 3y square times dy dx. Don't forget the chain rule. So solve for dy dx. So I have to multiply both sides by 1/3 y to the power negative 2. That's the reciprocal. So when I multiply them, I get 1. And I'm just going to copy this side. So now let's go ahead and make the substitution. So this goes in place of dy dx. dy dx, same thing to say y prime. So I'm only going to do that substitution. So let's do it here. So let's make the substitution. So I'm going to replace y prime by 1/3 y to the power negative 2 times dv dx. And copy everything else. Minus 5y equal to e to the negative 2x times y to the power negative 2. Here you have y, x, and v. But our goal is to get rid of y, and you should end up with a linear equation for v. So to do that, you need to make the coefficient of dv dx 1. So I have to make this one 1. So you multiply both sides by the reciprocal of that. So let's multiply the left hand side and the right hand side by the reciprocal. So let's do that. So the reciprocal of 1/3 is 3, and the reciprocal of y to the power negative 2 is y squared. So let's multiply both sides by 3y squared. So let's go ahead and do this. So when I multiply this out, of course I'm going to get 1 here. That is the whole point. So I end up with dv dx minus, when I multiply here, I get negative 15 y cubed equal to 3 e to the negative 2x. So when I multiply here, and then of course y to the power negative 2 and y square, that's just y to the power 0, which is 1. So all I have is 3 e to the negative 2x. And then we do not forget that y cube is actually v. So that's actually v. So v is equal to y cube. So let's do that substitution. So I'm going to replace y cube by v, and there is no y after that, only x and v. So let's do that. So I get dv dx equal to, minus 15v equal to 3e to the negative 2x. So this is a linear equation in terms of v. So here the p is negative 15 and q is 3e to the power negative 2x. So let's apply the method of linear first order differential equation. So let's do that. So start by finding the u, which is e to the power integral of p dx. This is e to the power integral of negative 15 dx. So integral of negative 15 is negative 15x. Here do not add any c. You choose c to be 0. So the v, just apply the formula for the v. So v is going to be equal to the integral of uq divided by u. So I'm going to replace the u by e to the negative 15x. So that goes in place of u. And in place of q is 3e to the negative 2x. So let's do that. Substitution. So integral of u is e to the negative 15x times q, which is 3e to the negative 2x dx over u, e to the negative 15x. So let's finish it up. So v is equal to, now of course when I multiply e to the negative 15x and e to the negative 2x, so that's e to the negative 17x. Remember, you are adding exponent when you are multiplying. And this 3, I can bring it outside the integral. Divided by e to the negative 15x. So 3 times, now integral of e to the negative 17x is just 1 over negative 17 e to the negative 17x. And then have to have plus c. So again, as a side note, the integral of e to the ax is 1 over a e to the ax plus c. So in this example, my a is negative 17. Or you can use u substitution if you want. And then I copy e to the negative 15x here. Now let's just distribute this. So I get v equal to, when I distribute, so I'm going to write 3, so I'm going to write negative 3 over 17. So this one, that's negative 3 over 17. Now when I divide, I subtract. So I get e to the power negative 2x. Just to show you here, when I subtract the exponent, is the negative 17x minus negative 15x. So that's actually a plus. So I get negative 17x plus 15x, which is negative 2x. And of course, I have to also distribute this e to the negative 15x below c. So that will be actually c e to the power 15x. And I move this e to the negative 15x on the top. So that will be e to the positive 15x. Now I replace v by y cube because my v is y cube, right? V is equal to y cube. So don't forget that. So let me add a paper here, blank page. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to replace v by y cube because remember v is equal to y cube, and copy everything else. So So that will be my general solution. So that's the general. And again, it's implicit. So that will be my general implicit solution. We have not solved for y in terms of x, but let's actually find the c using the initial condition. So my initial condition is y of 0 equal to 2. So let's do that. So my initial condition is y of 0 equal to 2. So that means when x is 0, y is 2. So let's do it. So I'm going to replace y by 2 and x by 0. So when I replace x by 0, it's just e to the power 0 plus c e to the power 0. And e to the power 0 is 1. So at the end of the day, all I have is 8, and then let's just move it to the other side. So I get 8 plus 3 over 17 equal to c. So I got my c. C is this. So we just combine this fraction. So c equal to, if I combine the fraction, so it just 17 is the common denominator. So I end up with 8 times 17 plus 3. So let's use a calculator. 8 times 17 plus 3, that will be 139 over 17. So that goes in place of c. So this goes in place of c here. So let's just write it down, the final specific solution. So I'm going to copy everything. So I'm going to copy y cube equal to negative 3 over 17. So let's just copy y cube equal to negative 3 over 17. Let me just make sure I don't make any mistake. E to the negative 2x, e to the negative 2x, and then I have plus c e to the 15x, but I don't, but my c is this. So plus 139 over 17 e to the power 15x. And that's my final specific solution. Always remember, you can do it. Do not forget that. Thank you. Bye bye.